Perfect.
All right, we're live.
Yay, go us.
No, I have the article. So I have the natural article, which I love, on Gawker. Right?
Yes. And the other one I thought might be interesting to talk about, not to focus, I'm deliberately at self-editing on the piece of it that we talk about in the book. So not to give too much away, but perhaps talk about other facets of that Blue Zone article, whether we think it's realistic, whether we think it's wick wick. Because some of it, and I read and I thought, I can't remember which it was. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. But to me, that's perfection. Wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, and I think what I would want to touch on is taking what you can from that article. And
yes,
right.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And actually I shared an article on Breaking Muscle about how the myth of aging. So I think I want to just like touch on that too. Because it kind of goes hand in hand with the whole concept of forgetting to die.
Yes. And it is some of that, I've read about the blue zones. Yes, we can talk about this. But yes, it is. Is it wick wick? Is it too much perfection? And how different individual perspectives are. I bet some of the ones I think like, oh, holy mother of crap, that would be perfection. For me, you might think, oh yeah, I kind of do that already.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun
Perfect.
Conversation. Do you want me to introduce the natural one and then you to introduce the dying one?
Yes.
Okay. That way and then the dying one, that's how I remember it. And then, okay. And then what do we want to start off with the intro?
I didn't pick a Wick Wicker of the week because this person was mine, but we could start off with that and then end only with your Wick Wicker of the week, because what I picked was Melody, who I've talked about before, the article that she shared. I love how, and I've talked about Melody before, she's the first one who made me realize, oh, Wick Wick, this was a year ago, isn't just for people up to 60 and down.
Right.
It's, wow, it resonates with everybody. And it's that 85-year-old Topeka discovers health again through walking. So maybe I start with that and just mention, this is my Wick Wicker of the week, but it's a long one and she's never even heard of Wick Wick. But it's, Fitbit.
Then why don't we go from that one into the first article,
perfect.
Reverse it, then end on the natural.
And then you go into your person.
And then I'll end with my Wick Wicker of the week. So we'll do your Wick Wicker of the week, which is about aging, right? Go into the aging article, discuss that. Go into the natural article, discuss that. Okay, perfect. Okay.
My allergies are so bad. I'm not going to.
I know. Me too. Okay, now I'm going to bring this away from my nose.
Yes, I need that too. Okay. You don't hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Although you sound echoier. Say that again.
Is that better?
Yeah. Wait, do it where it was before.
Is that too far?
Yeah, you do get an echo. Do I get an echo?
Okay.
That's weird. I wonder what would cause it to echo though, unless because you're close to your counters or something. Who knows? Okay. All right, I'm gonna take one more bite of my avocado peanut butter pudding.
Oh my gosh.
I got my order of avocados from the California Avocado Commission today. So it's always like Christmas in literally they send me a case of avocados. It's insane. Did you freeze?
No, I'm waiting.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so they send me a case of avocados and I love it because I end up giving half of them away because they're going to ripen before I have a chance.
Okay, before you launch into the thing, then I need to say, you asked if I froze yesterday on our very grown-up business call. Was it choppy or were you just sitting there like, okay, let's wrap this up? I was just sitting there.
Yes, because I was like, okay, this is your call. Like, and I was waiting for, that's what I meant by spacey. I was like,
thank you. It was like, yes, I was waiting too. It wasn't
like, you're
choppy.
the leader of this call.
Yes. I don't want to seize the reins. Okay.
I agree. Okay. All right. I'm bringing us in. I think it's your turn to bring us in.
We are episode. It is my turn, and we're 19.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, ready.
I'm ready.
Welcome to Wick Wick episode 19. And you know what? I want to laugh because it just occurred to me as I brought us in. This is kind of like the all about the aging episode. Just at the beginning, but it
a very
occurred to me.
special episode on aging. Yeah.
Which is why I lit off. I'm actually really excited. And I know I remember talking about this on a different episode that you also emailed me this morning and said, can you believe it's been a year?
Yeah, that we launched our Tumblr account a year ago, which it's one of those things I just kind of grabbed the name when I could and, wanted to have a presence on Tumblr for those folks who are on Tumblr. And I've been kind of trying to build our Tumblr, but it's not a big priority because you're just stretched so thin on social media networks. But when
you not saying I'm too busy.
No, I'm not.
It's not a big priority.
It's just not. There's certain things that have to be moved down to the line. And although I love Tumblr, it's a whole social network that I really was kind of late to the game in. So yeah, I kind of push it down the priority list. But I really think it's just a great social network. I wish I had more time.
And this was like, when you sent me that, I thought, oh yeah, I've been thinking a lot about how it was July 4th weekend last year. We did the big push with the book writing.
Yeah.
And I met this woman. I kind of want to start off with my Wick Wicker of the week. I met this woman who I've mentioned before, and we met at the Zuma Napa race. She was walking the half. I'm maybe 20 years her junior, and I was walking the 10K, and that was more than enough for me. But we walked partway together, and it really was my realization of, I think I had kind of niched the what you can when you can. It's for busy 28-year-olds to busy 55-year-olds. I don't know what I was thinking, but she was the first person to make me realize, dude, this works for people in their 80s.
Right. For anyone. Yeah.
Anyone. And she shared an article on my Facebook this weekend, which actually blew my mind. The title of the article was 85-year-old Topeka in Kansas discovers health again through walking. And I'll share a few snippets, but the bottom line of it is this woman could have been 22. She could have been 62. I mean, she did everything we talk about with Wick Wick. She doesn't take the elevator. She climbs the 2 flights of stairs to her apartment. She has a Fitbit, and her quote is 85. My little Fitbit helps it to be more fun and interesting to walk. It causes me to want to do better and better. It's fun to achieve goals. And I just thought, this is like the ultimate Wick Wick. It shows how we don't have to slow down as we age. And she's bringing others along with her. But she ends the article, and I was cheering. And actually, my first thought, because I'm crazy, is I wanted to track her down and get her a copy of the book. Just do as much as you can, Kelsey said. Just try. If you can't walk around the lake, walk around something.
Aw, that's so awesome.
And it reminded me, again, not to toot our own horn, this applies to everybody. A 25-year-old who decided, okay, I'm going to get healthy, would say the exact same thing. None of us are all that different. We're all in this together.
Oh, it's true. And actually, yesterday I was hanging out with some friends, and these are gym goers. Okay, so all my friends are from the gym, so let's just get out of the way. But they were laughing at me because my friend's husband, who's also a member, she's like, oh my gosh, he's wicking all the time. The other day, he made us park all the way at the other end of the parking lot, and he looked at
that from a man.
Yes, and she's like, why are we parking out here? And he, with a straight face, looked at her and went, Wick Wick. And I'm like, oh my God, now this is
awesome.
This is a 38-year-old man who's a CrossFitter. So you talk about opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, it's wonderful.
Is awesome. And I'm going to throw the husband under the bus because he doesn't listen to the podcast, but it's making that shift. And I really think you never go back. But daughter, 9, whiny, tired, went to the grocery store, and she wanted to get in the cart. And I love my child, but I'm like, dude, you're 9. Of course I have to make the movie reference, and which I think you'll get. When he said, yeah, that's fine, I looked at him and said, is this like WALL-E or something? Do you remember that movie, WALL-E? It was really dark, but all the kids were in carts and everybody was in wheelchairs.
Oh, WALL-E.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yes. Of course.
I was like, this is not WALL-E. And he's like, it's just around the grocery store. And I thought, that is the tenet of Wick Wick. It's what this 85-year-old Topeka, Kansas woman said, walk around something.
I think the words just and only are our biggest enemies. Are they not?
Yes.
It's just around this. Oh, I only walked the half. I only did this. Or
yes,
we talk ourselves out of things all the time. It's really, really interesting. Yeah.
And it is that woman. It's walk around something, because if you can't walk around the lake, walking around your kitchen island is a lot more than just sitting on your chair. Done.
So true. It's
But
really,
I love this woman.
that's
I want
cool.
to hunt her down and send her a buck.
Can I say I love that you've met the one, like the other woman who shared the article with you at the half, and now you're Facebook friends, because I have met people on races that I am also Facebook friends with.
So,
Which I just think it's really cool. Yeah.
And it's like, I know you and I are the same with this. Although mine's probably, now that I'm about to say this, it could be because I'm more introverted at times. I never look when people share on Facebook, look, Susie and I went out for ice cream and a movie tonight. I never think, damn it, why did you not invite me? I think, good for you guys. I'm on the couch.
I'm the same.
But I don't get any kind of, it doesn't depress me. It doesn't feel fake. I feel really close to Melody, and I've only seen her one time.
No, I totally agree. Actually, the first marathon I ran in 2009, me and another guy, probably the last 6 miles, we kept, passing each other, and we were walking, running, and I was cheering him on and he was cheering me on. And he's in my photograph crossing the finish line that the race photographer took. And it made me happy because I thought we really bonded those last 6 miles. And I told him about my websites, and I was wearing a shirt that said, like, I'm Ronnie, cheer me on, because I really didn't think I could make
Love that.
And I had my website on the back, and he came and looked me up, and now we're Facebook friends. And every once in a while, we'll connect again. And I think, yeah, this is a person that we've shared an experience together. And I'm saying to you, it's totally genuine. I think
it doesn't feel contrived. I don't look at other people's, and maybe it's because it's become so prevalent. Don't compare your day-to-day with someone else's highlight reel or whatever it is. But I'm fully aware when they show the picture of themselves loving up their husband, that it's not always like that. They don't walk around the house intertwined and always kissing each other up.
Right. Yeah. I find that people either look at social media as a way to fake book, quote unquote, fake book, or they look at it as a way to make real connections. And for me, it's always been a way to make I like meeting people and talking to people and connecting with people. So I'm I don't know. I feel like I take social media or social networks at face value. People share what they want to share and don't share. That's why I get upset when people always go and get into a tissy about the security and the privacy. I'm thinking,
oh my gosh, yes.
Don't share. I'm like, why was there an assumed privacy on a free website?
Yes, or anything. Once it's out there, I remember my own mother saying it to me when I wrote my first little love note to a boy in my class. It's fine, but you need to realize once you've given it away, your words can be shared, and it's no different with social media.
Exactly. Yeah, I just always kind of find it funny that people think that there's an assumption of privacy, and I think my assumption was that there's never been privacy, so I'm never appalled. Yes, I'm like, of course. Yes. It's a free website where you're freely choosing to share what you want to share. I'm like, don't share anything that you don't want to share, and then you don't have to worry about privacy.
Oh, I know. I say it to a child all the time. You can think whatever you want or even say it, but once it's in writing, it's out there.
That's true. It's funny. I say that. I'm like, sometimes I tell Ryan, I'm like, you can think those things, but don't say them out loud.
I say that oh my gosh, especially with regards to me. But that's a very special episode about parenting struggles.
We need to devote an entire episode to parenting. Maybe like the first week of school in the fall or something.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I'm going to hog the next transition because it kind of dovetails in with it. This woman, 85. I think about my own dad who's 80, and sometimes I really do get panicky. Oh my gosh, he's getting older. But then I think about his own mother who lived, and this was now a while ago, to 102. Wow. And so I'm kind of sucked into that, but have been for a long time. What makes some of us live longer? And I remember Oprah. Yay.
I do remember this episode.
Do you remember the show?
I do.
It was so cutting edge at the time. And she talks about this article. It was from the Huffington Post. And it's called Secrets from the Island Where People Forget to Die. But it's all about the blue zones. And now I'm going to blank on the man's name, which may not be a bad thing. Dan, something, we can look it up and put it in the post. But he traveled to these blue zones all over the world And there's been a lot of focus on this one specific Greek community, which this is what the Huffington Post article talked about as well. And they've come up with 6 secrets or reasons why these people live so much longer than we do. And it's interesting because I remember looking it up and reading them back when Oprah was on, so a while ago, and thinking, oh, I could do absolutely none of those. I'm going to die like tomorrow, because that's where I was in my healthy living journey.
Well, and I think it's our culture too. Like, we're just not set up the same way, but
no. Well, yeah. But then I read some of them again and I thought, oh, I'd love to talk to you about this, because I think I would guess the ones that I might still feel would be, wow, if I could do that, that would be perfection for me. You do a little bit more instinctively, and I don't know about vice versa. So, oh yeah, no, it is, you do more instinctively. So let's go through them. I thought it was really interesting. And again, these are the 6 secrets to how people in the blue zones, he's identified all over the world, but these are specifically from the area in Greece. And the first secret, and I think of you with this, and I think of myself, and last night in that Instagram photo I shared with the frozen protein.
Oh
shake
yes,
and the
actually, I thought that's genius, but I could never
it was
eat only that for dinner.
Oh my God. Well, but see, I had already eaten dinner with the child. So that was my second dinner.
That
But oh my gosh, was that perfect. But the first one is, I think of you with this, eat locally, seasonally, and then they do add the word, and there's so many back and forth with this one and the mice studies, but sparingly. So more of the focus for me was the locally and seasonally. And that felt then and now like, oh, could I commit to that day in, day out?
Well, but I don't know if you have to commit. I think you just have to make the effort. It's so wick, but it's so.
That is, no, I agree with you. Like, these people, I think, do it all the time. They describe the eating habits that they did. It was local and seasonal. Meat was rare, 3 times a year at the most on big holidays.
I know, that's crazy. Well, and I also think of these areas though, because they talk about that they eat what they find in nature. They eat snails and mushrooms. And I think though, again, this is very much a social and cultural thing. They're not bombarded by the big megalomart that those to use where there's like, warehouse size bags of chips and all that. I mean, not that you can't eat this. I'm just saying that this seems so, we almost have to go against the grain of our culture to be able to eat.
And could you do this where you live? I guess you do farmer's market.
It really depends on where you live. I mean, because you can go into the city and, a lot of areas in the city, the only place for them to shop is like a pharmacy or a Walgreens, where the freshest food they can get is maybe a prepackaged bag of apple slices, possibly, if that. So it's kind of, it's one of those things where I think, well, for me in the suburbs, I kind of dabbled with this. I joined a couple local CSAs to kind of challenge myself to eat more locally.
Right. And how did because I did that when we were in Oakland. I almost fell over when the first box came. I got the box for the smallest number of people. Why do I think maybe it was just 2?
I think it's usually
regardless. It was like, it felt huge. I felt like, oh, panic.
So many greens, and you don't know what to do with them, because if you haven't been raised that way to incorporate these greens, it's a huge kind of culture shock. So
and it felt like the antithesis of Wick Wick. I felt like it's Google. It's
true. Yes, you're constantly like, it's a lot of work, and it was a lot of work for me. And I actually backed off because it became too much work, where I was kind of starting to waste food. And I thought, okay, this is the opposite of what I need to be doing. And so I paused my membership for a while. And then I joined another one where instead of going, because the first one I joined, you would go to the farm and actually do a lot of you pick it stuff, which I thought was great for the kids. Like, they would pick the beans and the tomatoes, and then they would have the rest of the things that they harvested in the box, which was fabulous. But again, that's a couple hours that you have to give up to bring your kids there to pick.
Yes.
And then the next one I joined was one where you would have a pickup spot, and then they did not only produce, but they did local dairy, local seafood, local.
Oh, see, I would love that, because then it's all together.
Yeah, which was fabulous. And I challenged myself for quite a few months actually to live kind of off the share and then just supplement with like one trip a month to the grocery store, because to be frank, again, I'll throw my husband under the bus. There's a few things that he can't live without, like his chips and his soda and things that,
water.
yeah, generally I would weed out of our
Yeah.
diets. But I mean, we got to compromise. So there's a few things. But I mean, during that time, we were eating, and it kind of pushed my kids out of their comfort zone too, because I would have to make, like, for example, a ham hock. I'm like, what's a ham hock? I don't even know how to make this.
Yes, I think that's so good for them. And yet I'm so realistic about who I am. I don't think I would do it. It's not a priority right now.
It's not a priority, right? And that's why I backed off. So now but I think you could still eat locally and seasonally. So my approach now is I do regular grocery shopping, and then we have this kind of farm, like a farm grocery store. It's like an old family farm that has like this little, it's like one step up from a farmer's market. Do you know what I mean? So they actually have like freezers and things that they offer, and they share a lot of local products that you can't really get anywhere else. And they do their own poultry. And then, so they actually like ground their own breasts, and you can get like whole chickens, and they even have like ducks and rabbit there, which is kind of cool. So I try to go there like once a month. And then, because most of their produce, if it's not local, they have co-ops with growers in Florida that are driving it up. So it's like farm to farm versus farm to grocery store. And so I try to shop there a little bit more. And then I kind of supplement with Aldi and regular grocery store when I can. But I mean, you make an effort, I think, is the point.
And I do think about locally and seasonally. Is that something, because when I read this, I thought, do I aspire to that? No, I have to say right now, I really don't. I'm just so realistic. I think it really is. I mean, you and I have joked all the time. We talk about it on these conference calls or interviews. This is how we've lived for so long. And right now I realize, if given the choice, I will always buy local, always buy seasonal. That's the best I can do right now. And it does not stress me out.
And I think I mean, I find that the local grocery stores are doing more and more to identify what's local and what's not.
Exactly. Yes.
And then, if it's local, it's in season. So it's kind of like a kill two birds with one stone. Like, hey, if they're selling cantaloupes and they're local, well, then they're in season.
And it was where you live. I mean, I loved where we lived in Oakland, because I would walk to the farmer's market every Saturday, buy local produce, walk home. I was like, blue zone, but it was so, it's not even that it was easier than here. It just doesn't exist here. It's like you said.
Yeah, it really, really depends on your area. But I think, and the more people do it, I think the more it's kind of like a supply demand thing. The grocery stores kind of step up. But yeah, and I try not to even shop. Like, for me, like everyone, I love Trader Joe's, but it's like a 35-minute drive. I love Whole Foods, but it's in the city and that's a long drive. I'm not going to these places. Plus, they're really expensive. I'd much rather shop my local farm store or a farm stand. Like now for us in this area, our farm stands will start to pick up, because it's spring and summer.
Exactly. I think that was my shock with Oakland, is it felt like weather, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, I'm in the blue zone because I can do this year round. Easily.
Right.
Always walk. The next one, I do think that we both do. And I would be curious to find out whether other people just kind of listening to the podcast, just finding Wick Wick, look at this one and think, oh my gosh, right now where I am, I couldn't do that. Live deliberately and don't rush.
Yeah, this is a big one for me. I'm trying.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because I wouldn't. It's funny that I can tell my daughter, I'm so rarely rushing her. And so when I do rush her or have rushed her, I can think of like 2 times, she really notices. And she's like a little bit panics. Like, I feel like you're rushing me. I never do.
I'm bad at this. I'm always rushing my kids.
Okay, see, and we have different things. Together we would live forever.
Oh, excuse me. No, I'm always rushing my kid. Like, I'm always like, oh my gosh, sometimes to a fault. And I notice that I'm trying to not, but even just taking a walk. Like, why are you so slow?
Interesting. And for me, it's all mindset. Like, I have thought that in the mornings, we've started walking the dog so we can walk to school without the dog. And she said, I need the reminders once there's this strip of the neighborhood and we turn the corner. And she said, oh, Mama, we always see amazing things here. I hope we see something amazing, because we've seen like a baby cow in a truck outside a house and a baby deer nursing, like for the suburbs, interesting stuff. And I thought, oh, I need that reminder, because if we're rushing and not living deliberately, we don't see them.
No, it's true. And actually, I've been making an effort on this in my morning walks to Evan's school. Like yesterday we found a flower, or not a flower, a feather, like a hawk feather. It was one of those big feathers, like one that people used to write with back in the day. Like it was beautiful. Like yeah. And so did
he want to bring it home?
Yeah, he brought it to school so they could show the class, which was cool. Because we did that in the fall too. We would collect leaves of different colors and then bring them in, and so that way they could do it during circle time. And then we play this game. Yeah, circle time. We play this game where we it's called the rainbow. We make up a lot of games. So we make up the rainbow game, which I think is great for kids in that 3 to 4 year old range.
Yes.
Where you have to it's kind of like I Spy, but you identify things in the order of the rainbow. So you start with red and you're like, oh, look at that red fire hydrant.
Yes.
Look at that orange flower. And then it's like, oh, the lines on the road are yellow. And so this way he learns like the order of the rainbow. Yeah. And then we kind of I don't know, you generally can't have a conversation with a 4-year-old on a walk. So this is a way for us to bond and talk, and why we're just taking this 20-minute walk together. So I do things like that, and I'm trying to do things like that, but it's a struggle for me not to kind of be on that, I don't know, northern fast track, go mentality.
Yes, and that's what they say about them, that dismissal of the clock as ruler of life is legendary in these parts. If you're not from here, it's hard to explain the mentality of, and I noticed this when we spent time in Africa, it's okay to be late. It's okay to leave wiggle room and maybe not even show up at all. So it's that whole mentality that's so
definitely
different.
It's definitely a cultural thing. And you can even see it when you go to different parts of the country here too. Everyone, like we joke when we go to the South, we're like, wow, people really are slower here. Like they walk slower, they talk slower, they drive slower. And like in the Northeast, it's very quick, go, let's go. So
especially it's that New York fast paced.
I know. Yes. And so I think though, like with anything, I make an effort, and it's like disconnecting and being present. Like when you kind of, I don't know, get the tip of that iceberg and you start to make small changes and you go, I'm going to log off now for the next hour and not look at anything. And once you kind of push yourself to do that, it becomes easier and easier, just like anything. Becomes easier to slow down.
Well, and it's what my daughter said, like we always see amazing things. And each time she turns to me and says, this deer was like the size of a chihuahua nursing in front of us. And she said, do you have your phone? And I said, no, I don't have my phone. And she said, we can't take a picture. And I said, or the other way to think of it was, we wouldn't even notice these amazing things if I had my phone.
Yes.
We'd be listening to Katy Perry. This is how we do. And
I'm very famous for forgetting, quote unquote, my
exactly.
phone. So that is something I do rock, because I feel like, and this was very conscious of me, I know that I am that go, fast, get obsessed kind of personality. And so I've kind of consciously decided to not to be one of those people who are tied to my phone all the time. And actually, it's funny. One of my friends noticed the other day, because we were talking about cell phone usage, and it was classic, where the old folks, like, these kids today, they don't even pick up their heads from the phone. Like, and so we were having this conversation, and I kind of threw myself under the bus. I was like, I know sometimes when I have my phone, I'm really like, I get obsessed with it. And then my friend, she's like, no, we go to lunch all the time. You never look at your phone at lunch. And it was like the biggest compliment. I was like, you're right. I don't do it when I'm out with people. It's like when I'm more alone.
Totally. And I'm obsessed with having it with me when she's at school, because I'm like, I'm the only parent here. What if something happens?
Right.
But it'll ring when we're together. And she's like, you're not going to check? I'm like, no, you're here. There's no injury. I don't need to know.
Letting the phone ring is huge for me. When I was a kid, of course, it's probably a product of just the time that we grew up in. When that phone rang in my house, I was like, boom, get up.
There was no answering machine when I was little.
There was no answering machine. Like I said, we had a rotary phone at one point.
I know, me too. Click.
Yeah, but now, and I remember my mom laughing, like, because at dinner, if the phone rang at dinner, it was like, you're not getting up and answering that phone.
Was us, yes.
And it would pain
you would never know. And then star 69 came out. So
like we talked about. But now as I get older, now I don't know if it's a combination of me aging and now I understand what my mom meant, or if it's just me making changes. But I purposely let phones ring now, almost as a way to train myself not to get. I'm like, they'll leave a message. They'll leave a message. It's not that big. I mean, I could see who you could call her ID. It's not like you're going to miss anything now.
And it's what we talked about when we were writing the book. I don't even look, but you know what? I am not a pediatric cardiac surgeon. It is not someone calling to say the heart is, there's no, and I am all over the phone when she's gone. But besides that, I'm like, no, it's fine.
Right.
Okay. The next one you rock. I do not rock in the slightest. Enjoy sleep.
Oh, well, now wait a minute. I can give an update on my napping situation.
But do you like it?
Do I like to sleep?
Yeah. I've always been so bad that it's always been an albatross for me.
I wouldn't say I enjoy it or don't enjoy it. It just is a necessity for me, I think, because if I have that mentality, like if I didn't have to sleep, I probably wouldn't, because I don't want to miss out on any life.
Okay. I just it doesn't feel relaxing to me now. I could read forever.
I can't lay in bed or lay on a chair and just not do nothing. I can't. The husband, again, I know I've used an example, but he's perfectly happy just lounging in bed all day. That would drive me insane. Like I got to get up.
And he's not watching
in
TV.
and out of sleep,
Oh yeah, that's mine too. But I think that I would imagine I have female friends like that. It comes from them being great sleepers. I think of our mutual friend, Susan. She could do that because she's such a good sleeper.
Yeah, I'm not the greatest sleeper, but I did 2 naps this past week, 2 20-minute naps. And yeah, I try. I don't know if I'm sold on it yet. Like it took a lot of like talking myself out of the guilt. And then B, when I woke up, I'm like, am I really refreshed? I'm not sure. I'm not, because I kind of want to sleep more now.
I know. I think if I could fall asleep at 20 minutes, it's that whole, and this is still so interesting to me, perception of time. 20 minutes on the elliptical would feel like a lifetime. 20 minutes napping, I think, that's way
It goes by
short.
so fast, because when you fall asleep and then you wake up, then you're like, oh, can I do this longer? Like,
now, where do they say sleeping in the afternoon enables you to have, are you ready for this one? 2 lives in one day.
Oh, interesting.
Especially in the summer. You have a life that begins in the morning, 9 a.m., until about 7, and then they nap. And they get up around 11 and goes till around 3 a.m. for the old folks.
Wow, that's a long day.
Okay, I don't know. I could do that one. The next one I think we're both pretty good at, and has become such a common refrain with the movie Frozen. Let things go.
Yeah, I am really good at this anymore. I do. And it was something, again, you have to consciously work at. I think sometimes people think other people just are like this or get this way. And maybe that's maybe that's true for some people. But for me, I think, again, I consciously reading articles like this and just even observing people. Like I have friends who are very laid back, laissez-faire, and they're happier and more, I don't know, just they see, and I kind of learn from them too. And I kind of just start to let things go. Just, it's not a big deal. Oh, they didn't invite me. Who cares? Oh,
and it's that quote. And I love that on Bravo TV, they used it recently on The Real Housewives of New York. And she got it wrong too, but it's essentially holding a grudge, not letting something go, is like taking poison and waiting for the other person to die. And reading that like years ago, I thought, oh, it really is that bad for our bodies. And it's backed up by this, just letting things go, be uninhibited.
Well, yeah, because in a weird way, you're punishing yourself. Like, why punish yourself when someone else kind of wronged you or something bad happened to you? Or why compound that and make it worse when you could just let it go? And it's not easy. Like, again, you have to kind of work at it. But I think, like anything, it's a learned reaction and you get better at it. You know, you just get better at it after a while. You just kind of go, just shrug your shoulders, whatever.
And breathing. I've started the mantra, and it's been mostly in my head, lest people think I'm a truly horrible parent, which I have my moments of being too irreverent, but just breathing and thinking on the inhale, it's in with the good shit, out with the bullshit. And I've used that so much in my head.
That's a good one.
It has helped me so much.
Another Carla little nugget of wisdom there.
Okay, this next one I don't do ever. Now, a lot of my Facebook friends do with essential oils. I don't think you do this ever. Please don't disturb my image of you, because then I'll think, oh my gosh, you're blue zone headed and I'm staying the opposite, the red zone. Turn to herbs for most of the minor things that ail you.
Someone has been trying to sell me the oils for months, and I
actually could get into the oil.
I think I could get into it, but I was like, I don't have time for this right now. Cause again, this is a lot of work to kind of learn about the oils and get
if my daughter weren't such a bad sleeper, it wouldn't even be on my radar to try, but I don't think I should be embarrassed, but I'm not. I'm all about traditional medicine. If I think she has strep throat, I don't try applying parsley to her tonsils first.
No, well, and I think there's a fine line. Like I definitely do, and like I am fascinated by natural remedies, and I do try them. Like if I don't know, yogurt and probiotics, and
yes, or the local honey for allergies.
Yes, like I mean, I don't know if there's a grain of truth to them, but I do like Epsom salts in my fridge. I have hydrogen peroxide. I have these things.
Yeah, so the magnesium. You're right.
But yeah, when my kid and I am not one, like I am not a hypochondriac, and I'm not one to run to a doctor as soon as someone's coughing or sneezing or even a fever, because I'm very much of the mentality of that if it's a low grade fever, that's the kids or our bodies fighting what it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's like fighting off the virus or fighting off the bacteria. So I kind of even don't hop right onto like the fever reducers right away. And I'm like, if the kids are okay and they're not dying, I'm like, let their bodies figure it out. And then, you give it 24 hours and then you go to the doctor.
Isn't it funny though that we both wait? We don't go to the natural remedies. And I really don't. I mean, I may think she's fine, but I don't think she's fine. While I wait, I should Google herbs or.
No, I mean,
say let your body heal itself. So that is what you're saying.
I'm more of a, like, let's make some chicken soup and relax for a little bit. Yeah. And let your body kind of do. And then, I mean, you have to be smart about things, of course. Like if there's signs that it's an infection but really most sicknesses with the kids are viruses and they can't do anything for them anyway. You kind of just have to let it run its course. So yeah, so I guess I lean that way, but I don't go crazy with the natural remedies.
And I would say that goes back to the eating locally and seasonally, but I do have a lot of friends who are super living urban, but they are really making an effort to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the last
one's your favorite, right? Yes.
Yes. Walk. It's amazing how I'm super biased because I do walk. But it just seems like this is so often the answer, as we have talked about.
It's really, yes. No, I think walking and we could probably totally read our own chapter in our own book, but it forces you to slow down. It kind of almost aids most of the other things on this list, if you really think about it.
Yes.
It gives you time to think, allows you to kind of sift through thoughts, let things go. I feel like walking it really is like the first catch-all, where it's like the first easy thing you can do to start making changes in your life. I don't know.
No, but you're right. And it's the perfect wrap up of it's where we start when we're tiny. That's like our first big thing.
It's so true. Yeah.
And we just need to maintain it. So I love this. It dovetailed in with the 85-year-old Topeka woman I now adore. And it was interesting to me to see how far I've come. I mean, it really could be, I hope it wasn't 20 years, but it could be 15 years ago. I saw him on Oprah, Dan, and we wrote a chapter about one of his concepts in the book. And I feel like I'm closer than I was 15, 20 years ago, which is really all that matters.
Which is good because you're aging. And actually, and we're running out of time today, aren't we?
We are talking.
Which is great. So actually, I think just to piggyback. So I read this great article on, I'm starting to read, actually my trainer shared this with us in our Facebook group, but
Where's it from?
It's from Breaking Muscle. So now I'm starting to read all these.
That's a thing. Is it like a website?
It's a website, where they share articles and coaches stuff and tips, and it's a blog basically, right? But there's an article by this woman, Amanda Allen, and it's called Aging is BS, the Myth of Missed Opportunities. And I love that it's been written by a woman. And I love that all of the examples she gives are amazing females that have accomplished amazing athletic feats in their older ages, when really a lot of people think you should be slowing down or retiring.
Isn't that funny? Yes. That's so, I guess it's the whole Western world. I don't think.
And that's what she talks about. No. And she actually talks about how it's and here, I'll read a line from it because I think it's fabulous. Aging is society's unconsciously agreed upon excuse for its own laziness, for not taking personal responsibility for its own health and well-being. And I thought, Yes. Now she's very, very harsh in the article, but there is a few sentences that I actually copied and pasted on my Facebook wall today because it really resonated with me as someone who really didn't get into fitness until I ran my first 5K at 31. Before then, I literally thought I could not run, like that it was impossible for me. My body it was something that crazy people did, And so as someone who really kind of has really flipped that switch and now I am really athletic, this really spoke to me. So I'm going to read this because I really think it piggybacks on the Blue Zone article that you shared. So she says the myth of aging. Aging isn't a sentence that kicks into effect at exactly 27 or 33 or 40. It's a process that can be slowed, and it's a choice you make. In fact, aging is the accumulation of all the choices, decisions, and actions you take over the course of your lifetime. The more consistently your daily choices and actions are health promoting, the more prolonged and your experience of the fountain of youth will be. The opposite is also true. The poorer your choices you make, then the harder you treat your body, the more rapidly aging will set in. And I thought, I totally agree with this. I really do. It's a accumulation of small choices.
It is. And that is the perfect way to put it, because it's not about the skinny jeans, about the bikini.
Right.
It is. And that's what motivates us. I like to think once we're out of our 20s, not that all 20-year-olds feel that way, but it's like, wow, I want to keep my cognitive function. That would be nice.
Yeah, it is funny how, and this has happened to me, it's slowly been happening as I age. But at first, yeah, my motivation was to look a certain way. And now really my motivation is to be able to maintain my level of activity. So, and I think about my kids aging
it really
and
is
them having kids. I want to be able to like whitewater raft with my grandchildren or climb a mountain. And I'm thinking the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I kind of put in the work now and maintain it. And I called it work, but I really don't even, once you find things you enjoy, it doesn't even really become work.
Which is a podcast in and of itself, because I thought so often about when did that become a bad word? Because I was thinking when I referenced our doing the book,
that's true.
It was that July 4th weekend that we worked so hard, but man, I loved every minute of it. And I thought, I was going to say work, and that made it seem like I didn't like it. But yes, it is putting in the work, the time now.
Right. Well, and making it a priority, like we talked before. And it's really important. And I talk about again, I didn't discover kind of fitness or even my abilities until I was in my 30s. And I'm kind of excited to know what I'm still capable of doing. And I think that's kind of the opposite of what most people entering their fourth decade. They're starting to slow down. And I'm like, I'm just getting started.
And it goes out of fitness too. I think it's what you said. I'm discovering my capabilities and what I'm good at weren't the words that you used, but I think we start doing that in all facets of life, hobbies, career.
It's true. And
we're living so much longer.
Right. And I don't know, you see people, I don't want to retire, to my couch with a book. I want to retire and travel the world. Hopefully I'd have the means, or hopefully I can make that,
Yeah.
And when I took my mom to Italy, which was a huge thick trip for me, 2 years ago now, was it 3 years ago? Oh my gosh. And it was a life-changing trip because it was the first time I ever traveled overseas. It was a big deal for me. It was a big deal for my mom. She's Italian. She wanted to see Italy.
Yeah.
And that whole trip, and I think I wrote a post after it called, I'm in, quote, I'm in. Because anytime our tour guide was like, hey, does anyone want to do this? I was like, I'm in. Does anyone want to climb this tower? I'm in.
Yes.
Does anyone want to try this new crazy food? I'm in. I was about soaking up every opportunity just to try and experience something. And my thing that whole trip was anytime we visited one of the kind of older ancient cities, they always had these towers, these bell towers. And you would climb up these, like Leaning Tower of Pisa, for example. You have to climb up the stairs. There are no elevators in the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And I kept thinking to myself, now my mom took the trek too. And she's, 30 years older than me. So it was a little bit harder on her, but I took that trek up there and I thought, I want to be able to do this. Like when I travel to, I don't know, Turkey, when I'm 65, I want to go into the bell towers and climb the stairs. So it was very motivating for me to kind of realize that my health and my fitness level really affects what I'm able to experience. And so if I keep healthy, I'm able to experience more. And
that's the best motivation.
It
I don't care
really
how
is.
committed you are to that bikini. And I was super committed. I will never forget trying to lose weight in college and running through the airport as I was going to Fort Lauderdale, swinging my Victoria's Secret bikini over my head because I was like, I am getting into this. But seriously, by the end of spring break, I don't think I could fit it anymore. It was like that fleeting. It's not that motivating. I was like, great, 7 days, wore the bikini, and I had regained all the weight by before school was out. But something like that is truly motivating.
It truly is motivating. And I think when you flip that switch, it really becomes like and it's something that, again, like anything, like learning to let it go, like you teach yourself and you kind of continuously push yourself. And I think, yeah, it's great to look great on the beach, but you're going to change your entire life. I think sometimes we're pursuing this one look and you don't realize, well, even if you're able to maintain a weight loss or, this quote unquote perfect body, you're still going to get wrinkles. Your skin's going to change.
It's like when people say to me, you're going to regret that full leg tattoo when you're old and wrinkled. And I really do just think I'm getting old and wrinkled anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's coming. It'll be colorful.
And how much time and energy do you want to spend on maintaining the aesthetics of your body versus the function of your body and the ability to like hike up 20 flights of stairs or, I don't know, whitewater raft or, go, what's that, hang gliding or something? I don't know, like whatever it is that interests you.
Like what you said with the post I'm in, I wonder if anybody, because I haven't thought about this with myself either, who's listening, is your persona different? Do you tend to be the I'm in person when you take these tours, wherever it is you go and have gone? And why are you not that person back at home? Do you become different? Are you less open to new things when you're back in your old environment?
No, see, I've really adopted I've adopted that as a personality type over the years. I think when I started, I used to be the I'm out person. Like, no, that doesn't sound fun. No, I don't. I think it was like a mode I was in because I felt
habit.
Yeah, it was a habit, and I felt really like I very much was. And when I get skinny, I'll do all those things. That was really me. So I was really holding myself back because I was like, I thought I wasn't worthy or good enough or whatever it might have been. And then once I started to slowly kind of teach myself, no, I could do all this stuff. I can do all these things too. Then it was like a snowball effect. It's,
Yes. And you've changed. It almost goes back to that photo image that we are not talking about this week, but maybe next week. Once you change your default,
yes,
everything looks different.
It's true. Yes. Yeah. And we talk, it's like kind of putting on, can we coin like a Wick Wick colored glasses or something?
Yes. There you go. Putting on your Wick Wick temporary eyeball tattoos. So
Yes.
So interesting.
I will share I'm actually probably going to share this article on my blog today, but I'll also link to it in our podcast post next week. So people, because it really does highlight these amazing women, like this woman, let me see, share. Here's a quote. I'm 70. I could never compete in the Ironman. And this woman, Edie Brooksby, did.
Oh, is she the bodybuilder?
Yeah, she began running at 52. 52. She didn't even run before then. And she ended up finishing an Ironman. It talks about, what was the woman's name who swam the English Channel? Remember?
Yes. Diane Nyad, maybe?
Diane Nyad, yes, at 64 age. She was the first person to ever do so after 5 attempts that spanned 36 years, which is just a whole nother story on not giving up.
Yes. And I just think we each have our own individual things. Like my grandmother, 102, she was the first person I knew who ever lifted weights in her apartment. And it was literally the Campbell's soup cans. And I remember thinking at 13, what are you doing? But for her, that was so groundbreaking. No women were in weight rooms then. And so it's like we can each do our little thing, which is a huge thing to us. And that's enough.
Right. And you have to almost only look at your own thing. Like for me right now, I think some people, they might even pick kind of an inspiration. Like I'm not a swimmer. I have no desire to swim any kind of channel, but I still look at her as inspiration in inspiring me to do something that I'm passionate about, or that kind of piques my interest. Like for me right now,
age, I've gotten so focused on wow with the age.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Okay. So are we wrapping
up with my Wick Wicker?
We're wrapping with my Wick Wicker.
I know.
Which kind of, I think, leads in, I can weed anything in mean, so my Wick Wicker of the week is Pickled Ginger 75,
Oh,
who
I
actually
loved that name. Oh my gosh. So was it about the thing you didn't know what it was?
Yes.
I have always wanted to do this. It seems
Okay.
like, oh my gosh, we have to do this now.
So Pickled Ginger, who I think recently launched a weight loss blog as well. So we'll link to her in our
Love that
post.
name.
I know. She tweeted, just tried, and can you say it for me? I don't know.
Qigong is how I've always
Qigong?
said it.
Is that how you say it?
That's
I
how
don't
I've
know.
said it.
I have no idea. So she said, just tried Qigong for the first time today. Only 8 minutes, very low impact, but man, what a sweat.
Did you see YouTube videos?
I have not. I only
It's
read
very like, and I've seen a lot of people outside in Central Park doing it. We need to do this sometime.
Yes, I have to research it more. So, okay, the reason why I picked her as my Wick Wicker of the week was because she tried something new. She did use the word only 8 minutes, but the fact that she was kind of celebrating that she did this for 8 minutes is really, that whole tweet kind of captured for me this concept of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, trying something new, seizing 8 minutes, and then just sharing that experience.
Oh, yes.
For other people.
Yes.
It was like, yes, this is what Wick Wick is all about. Yes. So that was my Wick Wicker of the week.
I loved it. And on top of it, best name. If you are watching or reading, please share where the name came from, because I would love to know that too.
Pickled Ginger. Yes. I'm assuming she's a redhead because her avatar.
Oh, I started thinking about, I don't even know, food.
You were thinking like sushi and
yes,
which I'm thinking about having for lunch today.
Oh my God. This was so fun. I am going to make an effort I will eat locally, but just for my next meal. Baby steps.
Hey,
Wick, wick.
That works. It's a little thing. All right, guys, we are signing out today. Thanks so much for spending your Wednesday with us. If you're listening on Wednesday, that is. Thanks, guys. Wick, wick.
Wick, wick.
All right, we're done. We did it.
I think it was really good. And I think that perfect that we didn't do the Gawker.
I did too. Yeah, no, we can save it for something else. But yeah, I think I think then I will call this a very special aging episode. That's what we'll name it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to bring it down right now and after my call.
Perfect. All right. Bye. Bye.